Hello, and this is Qtv News. I am Umudu Gajaga, and thanks for joining us. We are broadcasting live from our studios along Caraba Avenue. Here are the main local, international, and sports news headlines. At a day-long forum, Vice President Dr. Aissatou Toure called for more collaboration on migration issues. National Agricultural Research Institute NARI officials have issued a warning to anyone found to be encroaching on the land reserved for research. This comes after a visit to the West Coast region. Peace Ambassador to the Gambia and partners have held a stakeholders dialogue on the findings on the political parties' congresses and to address challenges ahead of the 2021 presidential elections. In international news, we hear how Cubans have turned standing in line into a business opportunity. In sports news, how do footballers cope with playing football while fasting during Ramadan? I spoke to a few of them to find out. Those were the main news headlines, and now the news in detail. Thank you for joining us. Welcome if you're just joining us. This is Qtv News. The Vice President, Dr. Aissatou Toure, on Thursday called for more collaboration in addressing migration challenges. She was speaking at a day-long forum organized by her office, the Ministries of Justice, Gender, Children and Social Welfare, IMO and partners. Ansumane Sunyasi was there and he now reports.
This thematic working group meeting is organized to galvanize support for the National Coordination Mechanism on Migration, with a special focus on addressing migration challenges and providing justice for victims of human trafficking. Addressing participants drawn from various government and UN agencies, the Vice President Dr. Aissatou Toure says since the launch of the National Coordination Mechanism, 6 of the 8 thematic working groups have been fully functional in ensuring effective migration governance, especially through border management, communication and advocacy, amongst others. However, she adds that there are still major challenges and called on government agencies and partners to work closely in order to help address them.
In the Gambia, our countrymen and women who had fallen victim to trafficking were placed in even more vulnerable situation as COVID-19 raged on around the world. It is firm belief that the promotion of the rights of migrants should be central to the function of this technical working group.
Highlighting some of the major strides registered in the fight against irregular migration and human trafficking, Fatou Kinte, Minister of Gender, Children and Social Welfare, says there remain issues that must be continuously addressed as part of the universal aim of promoting safe and orderly migration.
These are key issues I expect us to reflect on in the coming weeks and months. The TWG, because of this TWG, the TWG will cover a wide array of thematic areas, and because everyone has a role to play in migration protection or migrant protection, I am hopeful that you will contribute eagerly to the work of the TWG.
On behalf of the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Ramatoulaye Jawara Cissé, Executive Director of NATIP, says there cannot be migrant protection without access to justice and effective remedies, especially in cases of sexual and gender-based violence.
Justice for all who have fallen victims to traffickers and smugglers must be delivered in a transparent, impartial, and non-discriminatory way. This continues to be the Ministry of Justice's objective, and what we hope will be our core contribution to the discussions we will have under this thematic working group.
Thursday's meeting has been welcomed by officials, many of whom describe it as a timely convergence that will complement national efforts to combat the scourge of trafficking in persons, irregular migration and migrant smuggling. Ansumane Sunyasi for Qtv News.
That report from Ansumane Sunyasi there. Officials from the National Agricultural Research Institute, NARI, research stationed land at Banjulinding in West Coast region to assess the situation after receiving reports of encroaching onto the land. Following the visit, the institute issued a warning over the consequences of such behavior. Loli M. Camara was with the team and now reports.
The National Agricultural Research Institute is a major component of the Gambian agricultural research system, established in 1993 by an Act of Parliament of the Republic of the Gambia. It maintains 2 main research stations, one in Sapo in the Central River Region, CRR, and the other in Banjulinding. The institution's officials visited the site at Banjulinding to see the alleged ongoing unlawful demarcation at the land by some individuals allegedly linked to a real estate company. Dr. Lamin Diba, Director of Research, NARI, said the issue has been ongoing for more than 7 years, in which time the institution has engaged all relevant authorities to bring it to a halt, as the land is the only research land reserved for agricultural purposes in the region.
This is an unfenced area, which we also use to conduct our research. If you even look inside, you would see some agroforestry trees, which we have planted there. So it's just recently that we've seen some demarcation in this on this particular land, and we are trying to figure out who are these individuals who are encroaching upon our land. Now that they have gone to the extent of coming up with white blocks, as if these are some real estate developers.
Dr. Diba further stated that agriculture cannot move forward without research, as agriculture is the backbone of this country, and every crop developed starts from research. He calls on the government to act now before it's too late.
People would now not leave us alone. They don't want us to get access to that land. How do we conduct our research? How do our farmers get better crop varieties to help improve crop production and productivity in this country? So this has been a serious concern. That's why we want the government, whoever can be able to do something about this, to come to our aid so that we can stop this once and for all. Otherwise, it will be difficult.
Tom Senghor, unit head at NARI, said the site is not meant for NARI alone, but for Gambian agriculture in general, adding they will do everything possible to safeguard the land.
And all of us know in these urban centers, vegetable production is a major and a key thing that people are doing. Because from Bakau up to Brikama, each and every village is having a garden center. So where are we going to produce those technologies for those people at the era when the population is going to be higher? Because we've seen in 2013, the population census is telling us about 1.8 to 2 million people. In 2003, it was about 1.3 to 1.4. So we are expecting an increase in the population, and this population, we need good agricultural practices to feed the increasing population. That's why we are safeguarding this land.
The farm manager, Pate Bas, states the importance of this piece of land.
This land is for every Gambian. For agriculture to progress, the research team has to check and sell results and data to other farmers. So protecting this place should be everybody's business.
The National Agricultural Research Institute, NARI, is sending a message to anyone involved in the dealing the land to put an immediate stop to it. For anyone caught in the act will face the full force of the law. For QTV News, Lolly M. Kamara.
Peace Ambassador of the Gambia, in partnership with the National Democratic Institute, today hold a stakeholders dialogue on the findings of political party congresses and to address challenges ahead of the 2021 presidential elections. More in this report from Ajibintu Drame.
As the election in December approaches, a free, fair and transparent election is desired. Peace Ambassadors the Gambia is an international youth body focusing mainly on peace education, conflict resolution, youth and civic empowerment. It is recognized by the IEC to serve as an election observation group in the political party congresses, presidential, parliamentary and local government election in accordance with the Gambia's constitution.
We are also interested to see the progress that the country will make in the reform of its legal framework for election. The elections bill is before the National Assembly. And then, of course, there are ongoing conversations around the new constitution. Whatever progress that have been made in that regard, of course, this is an issue that is of interest to everybody.
Babukar Sambu, the president of Peace Ambassadors the Gambia, calls for a more peaceful coexistence during and after the election period and emphasized there should be transparency during election periods.
If the political activities of a country is not handled with care, is not handled with professionalism and law for country, it has all the potentials to cause chaos. Politicians, when they know they are being observed, to try to be law-abiding, to try to be as free, as transparent as possible.
There are 17 registered political parties in the Gambia. However, PAG observed that only 5 party congresses were organized. Participants raised recommendations for more transparency during elections. Famari Jaune, Executive Director Bekanya, had this to say.
Because political parties are national institutions, they are not meant for only one region of the country or one district. So do we really ascertain that their delegates are not only from Greater Banjul area? Do we have their delegates from all over the Gambia? This is something that we should be observing next time around as well. You should be specific, because we always say that political parties are government in the waiting, especially official political parties. So you want to hold government accountable. Every day you talk about accountability. We want to know which parties actually are definitely accountable to their members.
Madi Jabate, a human rights activist, called on political parties to be more transparent, and Duduja, the APRC deputy spokesperson, advocates for women's participation in politics.
We should be very impatient with our political parties, because our lives are in the hands of political parties. We had a party here, PPP. They ran this country for 30 years. I mean, only poverty, at the end of the day. And we've paid taxes. They've taken loans in our name. And that was replaced by another ruling party, the APRC. And we saw blatant abuse of our rights.
The main challenge for this is most political parties, internal democracy is a problem. We have to accept that. If you look at since the inception of those parties, the people who led those parties up to date haven't changed.
Other participants also echoed the call for political parties to encourage more women's participation, youth and persons with disability to be part of the party structures, as they feel left out and not catered for. Ajibintu Drame, QTV News.
We will now take a short commercial break, but still to come we have some more local and international news stories, also plus sports news. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is QTV News. It is important to know the factors driving what has been a wave of migration in recent years. 48 young people in the Upper River region on Saturday graduated from the International Organization for Migration IOM Standing for Youth Initiative. Fode Mane attended the graduation and he now reports.
This project, which is funded by the UK government, aims to provide safety, support and solutions in the Central Mediterranean route and targeted at those aged 18 to 35. These 48 youth in URR are trained with entrepreneurial aspirations and are offered professional coaching and an unconditional grant to overcome some of the challenges associated with launching a business. As part of the program, a research study was also conducted to understand the factors leading young people to migrate, particularly looking at livelihoods as a key factor of irregular migration decisions. The Senior Monitoring and Evaluation Assistant at International Organization for Migration, Usman Gaku, explains the significance of the training and said this project will provide activities designed to equip 400 youth across the country with adequate skill sets and financial liquidity to launch and manage independent small business ventures.
It is through this that we can challenge those that are in possession of resources to expand our businesses.
Mr. Gaku further gave details about the $125,521 grant provided to each of the beneficiaries to help realize their business plans.
Each participant equally will receive £1,755 sterling, equivalent to $125,000 is 521.23 bututs.
Khadijatu F. Ba, beneficiary engaged into bakery shared her plans for the grant given to her.
We received like $47,212 for now. This half of it I received it day before yesterday. So I involved the money, I take out the money. I already start processing on my own bakery.
Kadi Koma, another beneficiary, explained the expected benefits she hopes to get from this training.
I'm into poultry, and as we all know here, we all imported these chickens. Now I can see to read that this gun that I have, I'm going to use it to do poultry, to buy chickens and rear them by myself. And I also know that with the help of that, because the chickens we imported here, they are not that much healthy. So I'm going to use this opportunity to have my own business.
The project hopes to strengthen the entrepreneurial skills of these young people in terms of setting up and running their own enterprises with access to funds to expand and start their businesses and contribute to the local economy. Mama Salu Jallo, a beneficiary, urged his colleagues to impact on the lives of other young people who were not lucky to be selected for this program.
My appeal to the young beneficiary or to the young people is that let them utilize the grant. Let them use it for the purpose it is brought for.
Mamadou Idrissa Njai, the Executive Director of Global Youth Innovation Network, Gene Gambia, partners in implementing this project with IOM, look forward to the success of the project.
The program aims to increase self-employment among young entrepreneurs in the Gambia and to contribute to a better understanding of how innovations in a form of professional coaching and mentoring to be offered to the young entrepreneurs.
The activities of this project were implemented in Kanifing, Soma, and Basse. At the end of the graduation, the trainees were presented with certificates for their successful completion of the training. Reporting for QTV News, I am Fude Mani.
West African Takaful Limited, an Islamic Insurance Institute, on Thursday presented a multi-purpose photocopier to Sanchapa Sule Job Lower Basic School to ease printing challenges. Abibatu Sise attended the presentation and she now reports.
In Ramadan, Muslims not only fast but also focus their attention on giving out charity. West Africa Takaful presented a multi-purpose photocopier machine in fulfillment of its corporate social responsibility for giving back to the society, especially in this holy month of Ramadan. At the presentation, the Managing Director of West Africa Takaful, Momodu M. Diouf, says West Africa Takaful operates purely on Islamic principles in all its activities. He adds that this gesture is part of their aim in contributing to national development.
It is our firm belief that for any nation to prosper, its citizens needs to be educated. The presentation is a multi-purpose photocopier to enhance the performance of management of the school. It is the first of its kind to the school, but will certainly not going to be the last. These kinds of gestures as part of our corporate social responsibility will be extended to other needy schools and institutions in the future.
Mr. Diouf further stated that membership is open to all individuals irrespective of their religious beliefs.
The first company I established as a founder was Takaful Gambia. At the time that I was running it for the first 6 years, I was insuring Christ Church of Serekunda. So that what we are saying is that irrespective of your faith or belief, once you come to us at a Takaful company or Islamic insurance company and you insure, the principles are that the surplus which is realized at the end of the year must be distributed proportionately to all participants.
Malamin Baji, the headmaster of Sanchapa Sule Job Lower Basic School, says the photocopier machine will be very useful for the school.
We are definitely overwhelmed with joy when we were called and informed that we should come here to receive the item. So the item is a very important, resource in the school. It's going to help us a great deal in coping with the, with the job. It will enhance education.
Aminata Bojang, the school's head girl, expressed the delight and explains how the machine will improve learning.
This is very much appreciated and will help greatly in solving our school printing needs I can happily and proudly say that with this donation, our teachers will no longer have to write our exam questions on the blackboard.
Mamadou Mboup, the school's deputy headmaster and sports coordinator, announced that in appreciation of this donation, one of the school's sports team will be named after West Africa Takaful. West Africa Takaful was licensed by the Central Bank of the Gambia less than a year ago. It operates a system of Islamic insurance as a business venture based on profit sharing with clients. The policies include Banca Takaful, fire, travel, personal accident, marine, medical and general car insurance policies that cover most liabilities. West Africa Takaful's generosity to help the poor and needy is manifested by this presentation. For Qtv News, I am Abibatu Sise.
And now to international news. Unending lines in front of stores are a typical phenomenon in Cuban commerce. But during an economic crisis that has led to shortages of basic supplies due to COVID-19, some Cubans have made lining up a lucrative profession as many lost their jobs as a result of the pandemic. More in this report by Yahya Jao.
The Cuban economy already looked miserable before the start of the current pandemic. Productive activity had been slowing down significantly since 2016. This situation was due to factors such as the economic crisis in Venezuela, Cuba's main trading partner, the cancellation of contracts for the provision of medical services in Brazil, the end of the tourism boom, the limits and the contradictions of the internal economic reform, and the new United States sanctions. In 2019, new U.S. punitive measures affected the sending of remittances, the import of fuel, and the activity of foreign companies that operate on the island. For over 60 years and through successive U.S. governments, none have come close to bringing this neighboring island to its knees. And even though the U.S. trades with the likes of China, no U.S. president has had the guts to end the sanctions against Cuba. For the average citizen, the clearest symptom of economic problems is the increasing shortage of products of all kinds, including essential items such as food, medicine, and fuel. Long lines outside Cuban stores are the result of limited merchandise that rarely responds to the needs of the population. Shopping for foodstuffs has long been a nightmare for most Cubans. A 59-year-old Cuban told DW News, "If you want to buy chicken or other foodstuff, you need to line up for 7 or 8 hours, adding that 200 or 300 people lining up outside grocery stores is nothing unusual. Since Cubans are used to dealing with economic hardship, some of them have turned a problem caused by the government into a private business model, becoming coleros by profession. These are people who provide orders with a service in exchange for a payment. They would sacrifice hours of their leisure time and spend the night outdoors, lining up for orders in exchange for money. Standing in the line at shops as a means of earning has helped many unemployed citizens to survive in Cuba, and many would prefer to resume their normal work once these trying times are over." Reporting for QTV News, I am Yahya Jao.
Now to sports news. Muslim footballers around the world, including the Gambia, have to grapple with fasting from sunrise to sunset to play football while doing so. 2 second division players shared their stories with QTV on Wednesday as PSV Wellingara defeated Red Hawks by 1-0. A high-intensity game with almost non-stop action was in the end decided by a single goal, 4 minutes before halftime. Most of these players are fasting, meaning they will not eat or drink from sunrise to sunset. An unmarked Al-Husseini Sane scored from close range as the Red Hawks failed to clear. It would be the only goal in the game, giving PSV Wellingara their first 3 points in 4 games.
Happy na torop, you know, parce que ñu ci won jafé-jafé dal pour win 4 games yu teglante le ñaka.
I am very happy to score because we've gone 4 games without winning. I promised myself that today I will score after returning from injury. Ask about how he copes with fasting and playing football. Al-Husseini says, "It's very hard after playing 90 minutes, even after breaking my fast. In fact, I will be sick later." Red Hawks dominated for the greater part of the game, with beautiful passing football. They wasted a flurry of chances in the first half. Late in the game, their attacking prowess nearly paid off, but the Wellingara boys defended their lead. Aliou Yabo talks about the disappointment of losing despite dominating possession.
Digala come play 90 minutes, so you play game 90% you play.
Yes, we dominated possession for the greater part of the game, but we ended up losing. Also, the Ramadan has taken its toll on the game. It's been very difficult fasting and playing football. We've just started our warm-up yesterday, and today we played 90 minutes. According to Dr. Javed Saha, who is a physician specialist based in Dubai, when we exercise during fasting, it essentially forces our body to set fat, as our body's fat-burning process are controlled by a sympathetic nervous system, which in turn is activated by exercise and lack of food. However, he went further to say the risk of dehydration during such activities is still very high. So be sure that you settled the activity correctly and that you take it far easier than you would do normally. For these players in the Gambia, this match has come at the start of Ramadan. It will be interesting to know how players will cope as the month progresses. Umudu Gajaga, Qtv News. That's all in tonight's news edition, but coming up next is Kiundagu. Also, join our team for Sunyugale, our newest program in the Ramadan at 10 p.m. Have a pleasant night. Bye for now.